the crisis would be even worse. And of course, when you see the upcoming crises, I mean, the financial crisis at the end of the day is a small crisis. Of course, it affects the financial community. But we are looking at climate change, we are looking at peak oil, we are looking at food. Yeah? We are looking at all these upcoming crises, and the question is whether these governments in Europe and the US, which are mainly focused on their polls and public opinion, whether they are effectively can take these measures to overcome these challenges in the future. And of course, this is a very provocative thesis, but we have to ask ourselves in Europe whether in the way we are implementing measures at the moment, whether this is the proper way. When I see the preparation for the Copenhagen meeting at the end of the year, it's disastrous at the end of the day. We are facing major problems there, and we are making no progress. I think this is truly a thesis which needs to be discussed, and where a way needs to be found where individual freedom is still secured, but where the government, particularly in the Western world, find a more effective, more quick way to, first of all, implement measures, but also to implement a system to control governance. I mean, this is, at the end of the day, the big advantage of the Chinese and the Chinese financial system, that they could implement it very quickly. Look at the stimulus packages worldwide. I mean, I always make the joke in Germany, the Chinese already paid out half of their stimulus package, and we are still discussing the approval process. Okay? And so the actual stimulus packages in Germany have no effect on the economy. In China, when you look at the last 3 months, it has tremendous effectiveness. And I will explain you how the Chinese did it, because I was amazed by myself. The Chinese, they understood in October they need to do a stimulus package. In November, they decided, okay, we're going to plan one. And in December, a lot of my friends from the State Planning Commission, they said, okay, we have to take 2.5 weeks vacation officially, but we're going to be in a compound, locked up, without mobile phones, and we have the strict order to complete the stimulus package by December 23rd. In December 27th, the central government decided on the stimulus package, and 1st of January, they made out the first payouts. And when you see the liquidity in the country, in the first quarter, China was giving 400 billion euro credits to the companies in order to invest. Okay, this has been more than 85% of the total credit volume of 2008. And even when you look at the numbers in April, May, and so on, it's going to continue. But it's also going to continue that the PMI index is up over 54 points now, that the investments are up, and that particular domestic demand went up tremendously. Retail is up on average 15% per month. So these are the very effective ways of the system, and we have to consider when we are facing crises whether we should at least consider, to improve our system. The other thing, what I said before, and I think this is also something Europe has clearly to learn, is what I said before, you must be globally minded, and you must have efficient think tanks who can make proper proposals. This is not a question anymore of politics. This is a question of pure facts and implementing the right measure.
Grazie. Uno potrebbe obiettare che con 2.000 miliardi di dollari di riserve is easier to decide a stimulus package, no? Piuttosto che noi che abbiamo meno riserve. Sergei Karaganov, why don't you join this discussion coming from Russia, which is a very interesting situation either? Please.
Thank you very much, Martha. At first, I was not ready to make a presentation. I was even unwilling, but you were so persuasive that I couldn't but intervene. First, about Russia. Well, we have had a collapse of the stock market. However, there is no collapse as of yet. And of course, I mean, all of us lost. I lost 3/4 of my belongings, but it doesn't matter. I mean, all this was fired. Anyway, so far, I mean, we are surviving. Unfortunately, most of us who are thinking seriously would love to have a deeper crisis than we have, because we have too good a cushion, and we haven't yet implemented the policies of direct intervention like the Chinese have done, because we are still under the ideological dogma of the Washington Consensus. I mean, I must say, we are in between exactly. But we have a lot of money still. So, I mean, for the 2 or 3 years, I mean, we are okay. First, I mean, after that, we'll have a problem after 2 years. There's no question about that. Second, now I'm speaking not as a Russian, but as an international observer. We are debating here actually the ways to deal with the crisis, but we do not want to do anything. At this juncture, we're not ready to do anything, rather nationally or European-wide. Let me, of course, Professor Wu mentioned, I mean, Copenhagen, which is collapsing. I mean, G20 have given us, I mean, great menus. Everybody would read in that menu whatever he or she wants. It's not any kind of a policy paper. 2 G20s, we all agreed that they were very nice. They do not offer anything, except for commitment not to do too many things unilaterally, but we are basically doing them rather unilaterally. So I think that we do not know how the crisis will work out, and it's only after the crisis we will decide on the future architecture of the governance of the international economic and financial system. At this juncture, neither China, no Russia, no India, no anybody else want to change things drastically. But that doesn't mean that they do not want to change. They have decided, as far as I understand, that things will be changed. There's no question about that. The question is when and how. A lot of things will depend on China. If it succeeds, like it succeeds now, it will have a stronger moral voice than anybody here present in this room or elsewhere. If India and Brazil and Russia will survive, they will have a stronger voice. It is absolutely clear that at this juncture, nobody wants to challenge the International Monetary Fund, because it's the only instrument, or one of the few instruments we have now. I mean, why we are not the structures that would be met. However, we all know, and here we partially disagree with the optimism. We all know that the International Monetary Fund is first connected in our minds with Washington Consensus. That was exactly the source, one of the ideological sources of the present crisis. Second, that during the start of the crisis, it was non-existent. I mean, nobody even heard of international monetary crisis before or after, or immediately after. Third, so it has no moral authority. At this juncture, we use it. Russia uses it. But we will come to this question later. And believe me, I mean, things will not be like they used to be. Of course, here in Europe, and I'm a European, it's very pleasant to debate, I mean, how things should be reformed. Because, I mean, basically the system is built around the US-European axis. But the other world, which has grown since, I mean, the dominance of the Old West, is not exactly content. I've been recently to a few seminars where very great friends and old grand gurus of this world were debating how to integrate China in the world community, how to manage the decline of Russia, which, I mean, are valid questions. The question is that in our world, I mean, in the Eastern Europe and outside the world, People are also debating how to manage the imperial decline of the United States.